We're starting a live broadcast on YouTube as well as on Facebook. We're on Facebook Live, and I hope this is coming through. I don't know if it's coming through or not, but I hope that it is. And if it is, I hope that you would join us for a few minutes as I talk about some things. I got my notes with me today because this is something that I was supposed to broadcast last week. And unfortunately, I didn't get an opportunity to do it because my schedule was just overwhelming. But I know it's time to do so. So to all of my followers on YouTube, I thank you sincerely for all of your support and your continued support. Facebook is another beast in itself. Most people on Facebook are just so dishonest within themselves. And I don't know how the social media network actually attract people who want to lie about how great they feel all the time and never ask the questions of why they're hurting, why they are depressed, or why all of these other emotions may be coming into play that are causing real issues in our life. So again, still, I thank you on Facebook and those of you on YouTube. I just posted up something that if the broadcast doesn't come through clearly, I apologize. And I'm praying that we'll be able to re-upload the broadcast, and then it will be clear. But most of you know about empaths. And again, the way that I spelled the word, the way that I spelled it, not spelt, the way that I spelled it, EMPATHS, again, that would show up incorrectly on any spelling device, dictionary, or whatever, but you know what I'm talking about. So I want to get directly into the subject matter today so that we don't have to be on long, but this I was supposed to do last week, and I sincerely apologize, but I was sitting up at the computer just now and I got an emotional wave of just 100% depression fell over me, and I felt the tears rolling down my face, and that alerted me that I was supposed to be saying something that I didn't say earlier, and I apologize for that. So I'm going to say it now. Again, this is an adult broadcast. This will be talking about some things that probably children, they should hear, but probably maybe you don't want them to hear. And it's not all bad. It's not all vulgar, but some of it just very well may be. So I want to go, if you won't be able to see this on Facebook, but I have up on my teleprompter headlines. This is again on an article on two different articles. One is from the Health Nut News. This is Erin Elizabeth. You can go to Health Nut News and read her credentials, you know, her qualifications. They are cracking down on fake news. So like I said before, whatever we talk about, we're talking about things that you can go and cite the sources. And also it is on the Elephant Journal. It's about the mindful life. So it's about being mindful, and it is about yoga. And so we're going to get directly into the topic. I have right on my screen, it says major solar storms causing anxiety, causing fatigue, and powerful energy shifts from March 16th through March 26th. Now, it is April, and I dropped the ball on this one, and I really apologize. But for any of you that have been going through really, really strong emotional pulls, emotional situations where you just could not understand what was going on and why it was going on, I want to talk to you a little bit about that today and how you are connected to the universe. God is universal. God is everything. You can call him El Shaddai, Elohim, the beneficent, the merciful, the grateful. You can call him Christ. You can call him what are some other words? There are 99 different words that you can use when you're describing God. He is a universal God, and everything that happens in our universe is happening to us. And that sometimes is where we have a tendency to drop the ball and don't understand how important the past is to what's going on right now. So let's talk talk a little bit about what's happened and what is happening, because in 2018, there will be over 8 different solar phenomenons occurring. And each time a solar flare occurs, it is affecting the emotional ties of empathetic people to the universe. And it will affect us in a way that either it will energize us to do, or it will depress us to the point of many of us wanting to commit suicide. A lot of us think about suicide when the earth begins to pull on our emotions. A lot of us think about killing. You see a lot about the school shootings. You see a lot of collective people collectively protesting, and many of them really don't know what they're protesting about. They don't have a clue, but they're protesting because the hive mind occurs when our emotional ties are connected to a specific topic. So those who know that we are connected with the universe, they use our universal connection and emotional ties from God. They use that. Most of the time, they use it against us, unfortunately. So anytime there is a matter that they want to vote on, a matter that they need the people to lean a particular way on, they wait until these events are occurring. Solar flares, solar events, anything that occurs that will affect your and my emotional connection to the universe and cause us to feel as if though we want to be a part of something. I'm taking this on the big level first, and then I'm going to break it down to relationships, and then I'm going to break it down to the personal level by God's permission, and then I'm going to make that clearer to us why we are feeling the way we are feeling in 2018. We have more cars, we have more homes, we have all of these things that we perceive were supposed to make us happy, but yet we're still depressed. Why are we depressed? Because these things that we are after, even in the Bible and the Quran and the Talmud and the Tanakh and all of the holy scriptures, says, get the understanding of God first, and he will give us these other things. But Satan and the Satan of this world says your only happiness comes from these things. So we are accumulating these things, but we are not happy. Again, on Facebook, I thank you for tuning in. And on YouTube, I thank you for tuning in. To all of the followers from Facebook to YouTube, listen, we are in a time period where everyone is taking every opportunity to be successful financially. We should do that. But some of us, God says, do what I tell you to do first, and I will take care of you. I'm in the category where I am so nutty. I am so out of tune with the way things operate that if it were not for God, and I'm not talking about some spook out in the ether that I don't know, I'm talking about an emotional tie to the universe that gives me the okay, and it does it for you too. Many of the ministers are empathetic people. They are connected to the universe, and they can feel people's emotions, and they can predict your next move. But what happens is we begin to put our own little concoction of opinions in the universal order of things, and we mess it up. So now I'm talking about what is occurring, what has occurred from March 16th to March 26th of last month, but it is trickling down into this month because our emotions are so high. There was a major solar storm that will cause anxiety. It will cause us to be tired. It will cause us to be panicky. It will cause us to second guess ourselves, those of us who are hypersensitive and empathetic people. And it will cause a powerful energy shift. Now, I'm going to tell you the dangers of this for many of us, and I'm going to tell you how to use this to our advantage for many of us. But first, I want to tell you some of the symptoms, what you may be feeling at this time period because of these solar flares. Now, many of the radio frequencies, of course, will be interrupted. Many of the radio frequencies will be shorted. There's nothing to panic about. I'm talking about you're losing connections on your phone, your computer acting funny. My in-laws, their alarm system all last month was going off for no reason. You can contribute these types of things to the solar flares. I'm going into the emotional part of it, and I'm hoping on social media that you will share this information. I know it's not what you want to hear. I know it's something else we want to hear, but this is what we need to hear. Navigational GPS systems and technology will begin to act up. That's two things. It's been shown to change the blood flow in the body. It's been shown to boost adrenaline and affect blood pressure. This is what's happening with this solar flare, and it's happening right now. And I'm going to tie these things into empathetic people and hypersensitive people. It's been shown to change the blood flow. Many of us will go through periods of high blood pressure. Many of us, all of a sudden, our sugar levels will drop way below the level that it should. Strokes, heart attacks, the cells in the body that causes cancer may increase or decrease. The mental capacity, all of these things because of what's occurring in the solar realm of the universe that is affecting us on this earth that you don't know about, but these emotional changes, people in high places can take advantage of them and control you and I without us knowing. There is a hive mind going on now about the school shootings. Very tragic. But you see so many people just following. They don't even know what they're following for. They're just going. Because emotionally, we are connected to anything that means we may be making a change for the better. We don't know that for sure. But we follow it because we think we're doing the right thing. And people in high places will use empathetic and hypersensitive people in this period to get across their agenda. They follow the universe. They follow eclipses. They follow solar flares. They follow these phenomenon because they know these things connect to us and our behavior. How much have you drank this week? How much syrup how much lean have you drank this week? How much marijuana? Is it helping you this week? How much liquor have you drank this week? Are you depressed this week? Have you been depressed since the last month? Are you sick? Is your immune system falling to the point where now you're being attacked not only with viruses, but you can't get rid of the thing? Taking all the antibiotics, all of the cough medicine, but 2-3 weeks still sick. This is not by accident. And for people who are connected to the universal order of things, God talks to us. And he tells us to tell the people things that they don't want to hear. And if you don't tell it properly, they will think you're a nut. So I have to come to you by God's permission with facts that you can go and research. This is not fake news. This is the real thing. Now, listen to this one. The solar flares will affect the pineal glands and produce an increase in melatonin. That means most people will start feeling what's going on in the universe and around you. You will begin to see the aura of people. You will begin to see visions that your dreams will become lucid. They are so vivid. It's almost like you can step into your dream and experience the dream. And when you wake up, you know it verbatim because it's like I was someplace else. This is how God operates. This is what the Bible is about. The Quran is about. The Talmud, the Tanakh, the Hebrew, all of this. Moorish community, all of this. But if you are not hypersensitive and connected to these things, they happen. And those who know that they're happening take advantage of them. But those who don't know are used by them. So we are used constantly. In elections, we are used. Elections come about when the universe is acting up. So we see a black person, we vote for them because they're black. That may not be the best choice. Okay. I hope that we're still broadcasting on YouTube. I don't know for sure. We're talking about what has occurred with the solar flares. We're talking about how it is affecting us. Now, most of you don't even know anything about your pineal gland. It's like a little pine cone. And the pineal gland, over the course of the time we have been on this earth, has gradually closed down to a little peanut. And the pineal gland is the connection of God with man. And there are certain things that can open the pineal gland, but there are other things that Satan knows will keep them closed, and not only closed, will calcify it, will solidify it closed, shut it like a tomb. And Satan is constantly feeding us these genetically modified food, genetically modified entertainment, genetically modified music, and they desensitize the Spirit of God in us to what's going on in the universe, and we're closed off from God. We're closed off from, I don't care what your title, Christian, Moor, 5%er, Muslim, follower of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Nation of Islam, Elijah Muhammad. I don't care what it is. You're closed off from the spiritual connection to God because we've been saturated with artificial realities. This is a period of time now that we can recapture that reality during this solar flare. So the solar flare is affecting the pineal gland and producing an increase of melatonin. Melatonin is the chemical that causes us to relax. It's the chemical that causes us to get a good night's sleep. But it is also, when it is overflowing, causes anxiety. So the increase of the pineal gland and the melatonin will disturb the sleep, and it will also impact our intuition. You've been around somebody, you all of a sudden feel something's not right about this person. You know it for a fact. You feel it. Don't say anything about it, but just think about what you're feeling. God is talking to this hypersensitive and the empaths now. You feel it. You in a crowded room. I did an event last week, and I'm still the emotional connection with all of these people who are supposed to be happy in the room, and feeling all of their depression depressed me till this. I'm still depressed, and my son is 11 years old, and I will never put him in a situation like that again, because I didn't know how hypersensitive he was, but he was so depressed. And he had such a nightmare one morning that it terrified him from all of the emotions that were stirring in the room that a hypersensitive person could feel. I had my oldest son with me, and he said, "Pop, I got to get away from you while we're at the event, because I don't see how you carry the load of what these people are putting on you." He had to go outside and smoke a cigarette. I'm being honest with you. You're feeling it. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about those of you, my internet family. My job was to tell you this, and I apologize, but I was so overwhelmed from March to now. And I'm not even prepared. I had to write down some things. So God is talking through me now to deliver this message to you and to me and to us. And I pray that we take it as serious as it is. Again, if I fall, if the link falls, or I fall offline, I apologize. I'm going to try to get this back up to us because we need it. We need to understand how to be honest with ourselves and stop all of this bull crap about how I'm a phenomenal woman. I'm a phenomenal. Look, I have never seen so many single women in my life in Clarendon County, professional women, single. Can't keep a man, can't hold a man because they're so aggressive that they're nearly growing testicles themselves. Because they have been convinced that the way to success is to be an ass. And they're very ascetistic. I made that word up. But it's sad. Man and woman are meant to be together. And I'm going to talk about homosexuality too, because your senses are heightened too. God is talking to you too. White, black, red, brown, and yellow. No one is exempt. God is talking through the actions of the universe. And if we are listening properly, we'll know exactly what to do next, affecting the pineal glands and produce an increase in melatonin, thus disturbing sleep and impacting intuition. The solar flares are directly impacting the nervous system, causing people to feel extra edgy, cautious, and feisty, just overly arrogant, just feisty, just your mouth. You're just shooting off at your mouth. You can't control it. And you don't know why it's happening. It's happening because you're so connected to the universal order of things that God is trying to tell you how to take control of what you're going through and trust in him, and he will balance this. My son, before he had the nightmare the other night, he said the first thing he heard was balance. Something was telling him to balance. And he said, am I supposed to run fast? Am I supposed to run slow? And the thing said, in between, balance. Balance it. We have to balance it. And my Facebook family, you are not balancing your own lives. Most of us now in Clarendon County want to get into photography, videography, and clothing designs. Listen, DJing, I've been doing I'm a B-boy. You know what a B-boy is. There are people that can verify it. In the early 80s and beyond, I was DJing, doing graffiti, designing clothes, designing shoes, airbrushing, all of these things. Now they're making money, and the people in Clarendon County, instead of working together and being successful as a unit, as a community, everybody wants to take it for themselves. The same way in the religious community. The people in one church get angry. They break the church in half, go open up another church. The people in that church get angry, break it in half, open up another church. Now we got so many churches. It is ridiculous. It's happening. God is making us to reveal who we are internally, and you can't hide it. Facebook, you can't hide it. YouTube, you can't hide it. Instagram, you can't hide it. Periscope, you can't hide it. Black Junction TV. These are where I'm broadcasting right now. All of these different social media platforms. Twitter. Satan is at the end of his world, but he will not stop. He will continuously use the emotional connection of the empathetic, and he will continuously use the anger of the sociopathic, of the narcissistic for his agenda, directly impacting the nervous system, causing people to feel extra edgy, cautious, and feisty, and as though operating on adrenaline in a fight or flight mode. Now, let me tell you something about the fight or flight mode. The fight or flight mode is the mode that black folks have been in this country since we were brought here as slaves. And the fight or flight mode keeps you in a hyper state of caution that causes the body to shut down because you lose sleep, you're anxious, you can't trust anyone, even when you're trying to be successful. You're waiting for the moment when something goes wrong. You can't even enjoy the success of the moment. So in Clarendon County, more and more people are, I just said the word black and somebody went offline. You guys are so crappy. You guys are so ignorant that it's sad. But anyway, black, I'm black. Black people. You're so silly. You want to love everybody and don't know how to love yourself. It's ridiculous. You're silly. That's what I talk about with Facebook. The silliness of the people. You're so silly that you want to forget about the pain your people went through just to be a false friend to somebody else. God don't even approve of that foolishness. Look in the Bible at what God hates and watch what everything that you do. Talking about you in a oneness with God, God hates what you do. And the scripture says when you come back and present yourself before the Lord, he'll say, I don't even know you. I don't know who you are. You did what you did for your benefit. Let me get back off. I'm off my soapbox now. I'm back. It's happening. Some people may notice their senses are on high alert and that everything feels and sounds louder. It's brighter. it's stronger and more vivid than normal. And research has found that geomagnetic storms can have a huge effect on our emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical health, like increased anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, fatigue, and nervousness. How many of you, my empathetic family, 1 minute you're happy, the next minute you're crying, the next minute you're afraid, the next minute you're unsure? How many of us are going through these emotions right now? This is what is happening. This is an urgent message to those of you who are wondering what is happening to you at this point and why it's happening. It may cause you to want to commit suicide or kill someone else or confront a situation that may be dangerous to you. It may cause you to want to rape someone because of your desire for that person and knowing that if you would connect with them, you can go higher spiritually, but it's not for you to do. This is a very, very dangerous time. I'm going to say these few things, then we're done. Now, some will manipulate your emotions in this time period. They're masters at it. I said that, but I wanted to make that very clear. Their job is to watch the universe and use the universe to their advantage. It's all in the Bible. That's why it talks about floods and storms. These things didn't just automatically happen because of osmosis. They happened because of the act. It's a reaction to the actions of the people of the time. You know that there was orange snow in Russia last week? Orange snow. Something connected with something and produced orange snow. Did you know that the nor'easter that usually comes through and goes away actually circled around 3 times, and that's why it's so cold every day? And you know it's coming back? Even though today is hot, they're saying the cold weather going to come back again this month. This is not by accident. This is by God's universal design. Because of our emotions, the way we think, the things that we think we are hiding, God is going to reveal. So we are in a dangerous time, and I am warning us, stop the foolishness. We are accumulating the things that we are supposed to accumulate. The millennials think that all of a sudden they're the most intelligent people in the world, so they're leaving out the struggle of those who got them to where they are. The people who fight in the streets for change aren't intelligent enough with the laws to take advantage of the change. So the cowards who hide while the fight is going on know how to take advantage of the change. So they wait for the people to fight, go to jail and die, and then they pop up. And they did it with Dr. King. Most of the people who talk about Dr. King today didn't fight one iota. They just take advantage of the laws that came about because of the struggle. Same thing with the Nation of Islam and other things. That's how Satan uses people. Now in Clarendon County, there is a nightlife here. And I used to diddy bop, so I know some people who in the daytime they are dressed so studious and talk so proper and how are you and great day. But at night, they smoking crack, snorting coke, smoking weed, drinking liquor, chasing tail, chasing male tail, female tail. But during the day, oh my God, the nerve of Johnny to talk that way. They use the N-word more than the N's. And these are the people that we put in positions of power that can do us no good because of our emotional ties to their color. The religious community is losing major respect from the people because we see them at night being something other than what they claim to be during the day. I'll never call any names. I don't know who they are. I'm just giving you a hypothetical. I ain't no snitch. I don't want to see people fail, but I don't want to see people led down the path of unrighteousness following a liar either. So if you notice with me, I never tell you to follow me anywhere because I can only rely on God, man. I am nothing, a speck of dust. I'm nothing. I wait on God. And I work until he comes. I don't just sit there waiting. But I know that my work is what he set out for me until I see him again. And I don't see his physical, but I see his works in the universe like the solar flare. Please be cautious. Now, I told you that Satan creates a hive mind, a hive mentality because of something that occurs that stirs our emotion. Every time there is a shooting of a black male, everybody on Facebook acting like they the next Malcolm X. And then even though the shootings are still occurring and being posted, because it wasn't advertised by those we deem the spokespeople for what we should talk about, we don't protest those. So you got these part-time warriors. Then they go back to sports and entertainment when they feel like it. But you can't be a part-time warrior. Either you full-time or you need to leave it alone. If there's certain things you can't talk about, leave it alone. Because God is stirring our emotions now, and I'm going to tell you this, and you can take this with a grain of salt, whatever that means. The elders are living to see the young children die. Young children are having strokes and heart attacks. They're drinking themselves to death. They're putting so much poison in their system that their liver and kidneys are leaving and don't want to come back. They're going blind. They're going crazy. They're looking for some high to get them out of the emotional state that they're in because they're so depressed. They're so anxious. They can't come down from the jitters. They can't sleep. They can't think properly. They're so nervous. Now comes marijuana. And I know some old school veterans who smoked marijuana all of their life and they never had a problem with it. But now these young people are being introduced to these genetically modified strains of marijuana. I said marijuana and somebody went offline. Genetically modified marijuana, weed. Genetically forms of marijuana. When I was diddy bopping, they used to spray it with cans of Raid. They would spray the marijuana and it'd give you a higher buzz, but it would really screw your brain up. Now it was reported on the news that they're taking the marijuana and the bug spray that like the county will come through with that spray. They're taking that spray and lacing it on the marijuana and they call it KD. And people are ODing on KD. And you see them running through the street butt naked. This is happening in South Carolina. They're outside eating grass, or they're running their head into a tree, or they're doing something, cutting themselves or biting their wrists or some crazy stuff because of psychosis, or killing family members. There was a person that was adopted and he beat his family to death. These people are on drugs, man. And they're on drugs that are so powerful that they can't control what happens because you know what? You know, we talked about the pineal gland opening. The minute they hit that stuff, the pineal gland opens immediately and it opens where they start to see things. You look like a monster. You look like a beast. You look like something not human. And they think they're fighting something out of this world and end up killing their entire family. This is what's happening. Urgent message to the empaths and those who are sensitive, highly sensitive. Now I want to get into the sexual part of this and then we're going to close. From the 26th of March, I think it was the 16th of March to the 26th, and there will be many more solar flares coming in this month. But from the 16th, yes, March 16th to March 26th, we're now in April, and the effects of the solar flares are still occurring. It heightens all of our emotions, including our sexual emotions. So many of us are very horny, sexually aroused, and we want pleasure right now. Parental discretion is advised at this point, but I got to talk about it. To homosexual, male on male, you are entering the anal cavity, and inside the anal cavity, there are nothing but sensitive nerves that causes such pleasure that if you ever get the pleasure, you rarely come back from homosexuality like you rarely come back from smoking crack cocaine. And if you're not a homosexual male on male, you got a female putting something in your rectum because of how good it feels. We're being honest now. There is a receiver doing sex, and there is a projector during sex. The receiver is the person that is bent over. The projector is the person that is dominant. The receiver, depending upon how heightened your feelings are during sexual pleasure, whatever the projector projects to you is what stays in your pineal gland, is what stays in your mind. So you send your little girl off to a sleepover. She leaves innocent. She comes back dressing like a dude. She receives something during a point of pleasure. Same thing with men. Anal sex is that tight opening. It's open, but it's like a vault. And anytime someone gives you the right to that, the book says it's sodomy, but we don't understand what sodomy is. In fact, anal sodomy is illegal in South Carolina, but we don't know what sodomy is. We just take that definition. Nonetheless, if sodomy was illegal, then half of the people in Clarendon County, if they were following the law, half the people in Clarendon County would be in jail. Because everybody's performing oral sex on video, and everybody's just about performing anal sex in one form or another. It's illegal. But then gay marriage is legal. See, this is how Satan plays on the mind. I'm talking to you now. I'm talking about this urgent message. Those of us who are empathetic, you are going to feel and hypersensitive. You want closeness. You want closeness to family. You want closeness in a relationship. It's natural because you want to be close to the thing that makes you and I feel good. It's a good thing. But if it is used incorrectly, it will destroy you. For those of you who are empathetic, hypersensitive, if you are in a relationship with a narcissist or a sociopath, someone who just don't give a damn, when they enter you, they don't give a damn, but you are feeling love for them. You are turning over your soul, your heart, your spirit to them, whether they're male or female. And when they are done, they wipe themselves off and they're going to the next conquest. But you and I are stuck because we fell in love with the person who projected the feeling that we received from them. What am I saying? Be very cautious in this time because you're going to seek out. Many of you who are empathetic, you just broke up in a relationship. You need that closeness. You're going to go back to that bad relationship. Because something is stirring in you and you need closeness. Many of us need a mother. You know, we were birthed into the world. We got a mom, but we didn't receive the love we felt like we should, and we want it. So when someone acts as if though they love us, we give ourselves to them. This is what's happening right now. Many of the people you think are so tough, they smoke, they thug out, they fight, they act a damn fool. There's something imbalanced in them. And God is sending moments of energetic bursts where everything that is inside of us has to come out. The emotional ties we have with others, we have to be very careful because if they don't care about us like we care about them, they will use us. The liars. Be careful around liars because a liar will drain you. They are an emotional vampire. You cannot have an honest conversation with a liar. You cannot build anything of substance with a liar. False friendship with people of any other color and people of your color. Be very cautious, because at this point, when your emotions are so open, this could destroy you forever. It is best for us as hypersensitive people and empaths to spend more time meditating about who we are at this point and praying to the universe for balance, not only for ourselves, but for others as well. Another thing that is very important, sounds country, but it is something that is beneficial. It's called grounding. Most people are always talking about negative being bad. But you take the negative battery cable off a battery and try to crank your car. It will not crank. You can't jumpstart what God has within you without positive and negative. That is what a 360-degree circle is. A 360-degree circle is, Lord, you can break it into 180 and 180 and make that 180 negative charge, 180 positive charge. I don't know if you can see that. Yes. Or you can break it into 3 sets of 120. Either way, that you have to know everything about a thing before you can say you have 360 degrees of knowledge. And most of you in Clarendon County who talk about being Moors and righteous and you righteous and you enlightened and you are spiritual, you call yourself spiritual on a dead level. You only know the negative. You on your video talking about God drinking Hennessy. You on your video talking about God, weed from the earth, but that is not pure weed. That is genetically modified dank. You on social media talking about your righteousness and you pimping your women with booty cutters on up there behind and their breasts hanging out. And you talking about you righteous. The universe will battle you for that. And your success will be short-lived. So all of these people that you emulate, all these rappers talking all that garbage about negativity and they're successful, Satan makes them successful. The universal God of knowledge does not make them successful, but he will not stop their success until it is time to do so. Man, we teaching today. So to all my to God be the glory, and to all of my empathetic people, especially on YouTube, and I hope to get a following of empathetic people on Facebook and my other platforms. Sometimes we get so deep into lying to ourselves that we don't know what we are. And to have a conversation with the liar is futile. So I want you to go deeper into this because I only touched the surface of it. By God's permission, I had to get it out there because the way I felt, I know is the way that many of you are feeling right now. So these are few instructions that I'm going to give based upon the scientific facts of solar flares and how they affect empathetic people and highly sensitive people. And then I'm going to close. Number 1, drink plenty of filtered water. Mostly distilled water. You know something about distilled water? Not tap water. Don't drink tap water. It's got too much bacteria in it and too much metal. But distilled water, when you put a magnet to distilled water, my son explained, he's 11. The magnetism of distilled water is not the same as the magnetism with filtered water or with tap water. Distilled water goes in smooth. It's not very heavy on your stomach, and it will flush out a lot of the calories and a lot of the metals that are in your body. The only downfall with most distilled water in the South, I'm not talking about spring water. I'm talking about distilled water. The big downfall about it is that most of it is in plastic containers, and plastic destroys anything of value when it sits in it for a long time. So, but drink as much distilled water as you can. Stay hydrated. That's one thing. Take saltwater baths. Many of you don't know, but taking a nice sea salt water bath and soaking those minerals into the flesh, or taking a Epsom salt bath and soaking that magnesium into the flesh, causes us to relax. Meditate and remain aware of reoccurring thoughts and feelings. I said this before to many people who were having bad thoughts about things. I said, stop fighting the thought and let it play itself out. I'm trying to teach my son that now. It might frighten you, but let it play itself out. Walk through the valley in the shadow of death and don't fear the evil, for God is with you. The rod, which is the spine, and the staff, which is the spine to the brain, will comfort you. That is another thing I meant to say about the anus and anal sex. It is connected to the spine. We'll go through that another time. But the nerve endings from the anus all the way through the spine to the pineal gland, it's so powerful that you have to be very careful performing anal sex with a savage. I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm telling you that word sodomy needs to be examined deeper, and I'm not telling you to do it either. But what I'm saying is I know you're doing it. So if you're doing it, be careful. It's like if you're shooting heroin, don't share needles. I can't tell you not to shoot heroin. It's a horrible thing. But if you are, be careful. That make any sense? That's realistic. Avoid caffeine and avoid alcohol. These things causes hypersensitivity and anxiety. Avoid caffeine, avoid alcohol, spend time in nature. That's what I meant by grounding. That's what I was talking about with the negative back. You have to have positive and negative. You have to have it. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us to study white people. Don't hate them, but study them. Because of what they did and how they did it, learn it. So that it'll never happen again. And what do the Jews say? They say never again. Why? Because we've studied the situation. We won't allow it to happen again. We're empowering ourselves financially and we're taking over everything. Unfortunately, they're using some of Satan's tricks against us and against the masses of the people. They'll have to answer for that. Spend time in nature. Grounding is when you take off your shoes, you take off your socks, and you walk barefooted on the ground. That is grounding. You're grounding yourself to the universe. You ever seen a picture of a child sitting under a tree reading a book? See, they tell you these things secretly, but he's grounding himself. He's absorbing the energy from the roots of the tree and the life in the tree and reading, and he will recall those things in his mind over time when you are in tune with nature. Consume high vibrational foods such as fruits, natural fruits, pure fruits and vegetables. Those have high vibrations. Breathe deeply. Breath is the spirit. Breath is life. I've been around many people who took their last breath when they died. And do you know what they do? But they don't take it anymore. So breathe deeply, forgive, release, and surrender. Think about the things that are bothering you. Ooh, that felt good. Went all the way down into my private area, to the anal cavity, all down my legs, in my knees, in my fingers, and in my pineal gland. It really did just now. Thank Allah. Thank God. By whatever name you call him. Practice kindness. Practice compassion, practice acceptance and empathy. What? Empathy. Practice it. But some of us don't have to practice it because we're born that way. We just have to master it. Urgent message for the empaths. Remain aware of reoccurring thoughts and feelings. I'm trying my best to teach my son to think about what you dream, think about what frightens you, and face it. And I'm doing the same thing because at my age, things frighten me. I'm afraid of what Satan is doing to the world and how he's leading us to slaughter. I'm afraid at how someone can control your life and say, you got to do this or else we're going to put you in prison or something else because you don't have any control. That's not what government was made for. Read your Bill of Rights. Read your Constitution. This one, when possible, temporarily disconnect from technology, go outside and ground yourself, and anything or anyone where the energy is toxic and draining. Okay? Now I'm going to stop right there. I thank you on Facebook for tuning in. I don't want to call any names because we just get so afraid if you say, you know what? The algorithms on Facebook, certain words that you say will cause your broadcast to just act a total fool. And I hope that this broadcast went through well. And it's so important. I hope that we will share it. And it's time out because a person has a degree or has a position that we capitulate to them. We have to find out what it is of value that they are giving to all people. And if what they're doing is only for a certain group, don't mean they got to hang with you. They got their own friends. But in the political realm, it has to be for all people, not just for a few. And in Clarendon County, there are only a few people that are benefiting from loans, from grants, from positions, from things that most of us will never be. And we look up to them like they're gods, but they could care less about you. I'm going to say this. All of the old ones, the Bible said let the old ones die out in the desert. And the young made it to the promised land. But here's the thing about the young, you millennials that made it to the promised land. You forgot or you didn't even know about what your people went through to get you to the promised land. So in your arrogance, you really think everything you're thinking is brand new, but it's been done before. And the result will be the same. 2 or 3 years of success, and you're going to fall on your behind if you're not careful. Honor your mother and your father means to honor those who went before you and struggled for you. Give back. And many of you, I'll give you that. You do give back. You teach, and that's good. But don't be arrogant. Remain humble. To the political circle in Clarendon County, we got to change things. You got to stop voting in these people that really have no intentions of doing anything for you. And you got to stop voting in these smart dummies who have degrees but are so disconnected from the people, the community, that they could care less what's happening to you until they are looking for votes. And just by talking like this, I make myself an enemy. But God says if you don't do it, you can't prove to the people who are watching you that I'm real because you're being too cautious. Don't say anything outlandish, but say what I tell you to say. And I'm telling you today, on a local level, voting is powerful. Stop voting for people where you don't see any results. They only show up at events. But it's like, what have you done for the community? What have you done for our roads? What have you done for the infrastructure? What have you done for the poor? What are you doing for the people? And you better have proof of it or we're going to vote you out next time around. We have that right. Stop voting in these people. You see them at night, they're drunk, they're drug addicts, they're crazy. And during the day, they put their clothes on and act like they don't know who you are. You get what you asked for. Okay. To my empathetic people, let's be very diligent, and I apologize for not putting this up earlier. But honestly, I just need a lot of help, and I don't have it. I need a lot of help, and I don't have it. I need encouragement, and I don't have it. Sometimes I say, God, what am I doing this for? Like Jonah. Jonah had a job to do, but Jonah said, I am not going to go to Nineveh because those people are powerful and they're not going to listen to me. So that's why Jonah got on the boat. And that's why Jonah had to be swallowed and then spit back out. But then Jonah talked to Nineveh. And Nineveh was the only group of people just about in the Bible who listened to Jonah and changed their ways. They were powerful, but they changed their ways and they were given an allotment of time. That's what we're after. Our people are so ignorant at this point. Not only black people, but white folks as well, that if God were to return at this point, we would all have to die. Because we really think that we are in tune with God because we go to church, we shout a lot. All we listen to is gospel music. We perform acts of kindness, and we think that is all to it. But Jesus was crucified for what he believed. And we are so cowardly that we say, well, he died for my sins, the blood of Jesus. So we don't think we have to fight for anything. We're such a cowardly people. And I know coward because I'm a coward, but I am not a coward when God is with me. So I keep my mouth shut until God says to speak. So when I come on social media, you know it's me and God together and he's in control. And that's why I talk like I talk. Other than that, I don't have nothing to say. So I thank you for tuning in. Urgent message to the empaths and those who are highly sensitive. There was a solar flare that changed everything. If you did not listen to this broadcast, please play it back. I thank you for tuning in. This is Brother Johnny of the 19 Report, Jamil Salib Zamir. You guys, listen, please. And I'm not saying please in a begging way. I'm saying please. You share this information because what we are being, you're not hearing this no place else now. And I don't want no rewards for it. Give God the glory for it. And thank you again. And stop being so personal about who you want to tell you things and listen when it's being said. Thank you again for tuning in.